using Kane Linux forensic, like public domain police forensic software, that the malware came in through them. And I was discussing blowing the whistle and publicly exposing their misconduct privately. But ultimately, I didn't announce it because I didn't think I needed to. I decided I'm on record in 2013 being doing a documentary exposing public corruption. And you would see me handle myself quite well against my entire county government's top staff and attorneys and everything. It was the right thing to do, and I made good money, and that's what I always tell people is, it's not the way that publicly traded companies look at it. Like, you can do both. You can do the right thing and make good money. I decided not to expose the major corporation because I was very shaken up from what I had been through, and I have, since doing that documentary, tangled with some national corporations, and they are mean. Hacking has been apparently a trend for a long time, but yeah, they do their thing. Sick the attorneys and the hackers and the private investigators, and they come at you hard. And I, at the time of my life, this is March of 2019, I finally came to the decision, I'm going to focus on maybe mental health, pick up on mental health parity laws, and, take a softer approach to my activism. I'm getting a little old, and I, at this point, just want to, do a fun business and stuff I enjoy, because I've worked too many hours and I can make a good living. I don't need to work 100 hours. I can make a very good living working part-time. And enjoy life and really get involved in good causes and lead a different lifestyle than the one where I made a lot of money and wanted to kill myself and never could figure out how to use it. As I had no free time. So I was astonished when I got all my devices got knocked out March 6th of 2019. It was profoundly confusing what was happening. The hackers left a calling card in the form of my last device I kept up and connected to the internet was Samsung tablet, older and version of Android, and apparently a little more secure than the current ones. So the calling card was that, I think it was my Firefox Developer Edition, was the only browser it would open. It would only open to one website. It was a Newsweek article claiming China is the next Silicon Valley, or Beijing is the next Silicon Valley, i.e. Chinese hackers. And the moment I saw that, I called bullshit. Because I piss off endless amounts of very influential, powerful, and evil people, and they're all here in the United States. So I immediately recognized it as a ludicrous red herring. Although at times I was a little thrown off because there really was legitimately Chinese malware flooding in, all these Chinese programming, which was, and Chinese servers. So this was very confusing because I know that if you're an advanced hacker, you're at the hacker bad guy store. Yeah, give me the Chinese malware mask hacking version of that. So it's that easy. So, but nonetheless, it would get me going at times. But they're the perfect boogeyman, right? Well, something bad happens because Chinese hackers randomly target you. What's the government going to do? Oh, Joe, we're so sorry. We can't even stop these guys from hacking our military or the White House. We'll do everything we can, man. But yeah, we can't. They're just the perfect boogeyman, right? My death sentence came to be by establishing that obviously, no, they're not Chinese. I mean, they might be, but the Chinese parties involved are located here in the greater Los Angeles area. The Federal Group LLC of California, I think Tony Liu, and I think maybe his wife, registers computer repair company, VPLS Technologies, VPLS.com, partnered with Time Warner, owned by Chinese dual citizens, and a number of other subsidiary Crypt, I think it is, like Brave, etc. What was very confusing as these attacks came from every angle, and I quickly established the presence of external hardware. A year after studying stuff, it's a rogue access point. It's still here a year later. I now know it was there for at least several months before they attacked on March 6, 2019. It covers about 2 blocks. And it was, I reported it to the Ventura County Sheriff's Office. They came over, caught it on their body cams. This rogue access, I showed them a live demonstration because I knew they were coming to do the crazy jest, and that kind of wiped the smirks off their face, and they acknowledged it was a crime, but said it wasn't their jurisdiction, it's an FBI thing, which I was reporting a local device, so technically, yeah, no, that would be their jurisdiction, or it could be the FBI, but no, they had jurisdiction on that. But at the time, I don't know this stuff, and I don't have anything with anything. I got knocked off the grid. Eventually bought a burner, called the FBI. I naively packaged up all my equipment, my master hard drive, which is where I backed up. It was plugged in at the time of the attack, unfortunately. So my lifetime of data, my clients' records that I'm still legally required to keep from my real estate brokerage, my medical records, legal records, everything, financial records, all my passwords. I confirmed now that my accounts were penetrated, sabotaged. My website, my business website servers, hacked while I was knocked off the grid. For some time, I didn't even have means to contact emergency services, to even call 911. To my shock, it continued and continued. I was, I'm going to not go into the details here. It's not the intent of this video. I've been through some terrifying things over the last year. And while I speculate that It was being identified as a potential whistleblower that launched the initial attack. I think after about 4 months or so, it started to tone down. They were even letting me relaunch my business, but they had tight control. It was very clear the rogue access point still was there. I could tell there was traffic going out of I could see traffic was going out of my computer. I knew what was going on. I could tell, all of that. I could see a lot of malicious activity, but at least they were letting me kind of limp along. I had given up on my cell phone because I used my massive computer system for everything, including phone calls, and when I'm not on my computer, my phone calls forward to myself. So I was having a stress-induced bad day. I have an autoimmune condition that's triggered mainly by stress. And I had given up on my cell phone. It was bad. It was bad. I had no internet. I could use basic texting and calling. But other than that, it was getting downgraded to 2G signal, like an old Stingray. It could be done with which you can buy on Alibaba for $1,000 or so. But it was being downgraded to 2G unencrypted. So I'd given up on the thing, but on an off day, I decided to download. I had too much of a headache and stuff to do fancy stuff on my computer. So I just thought, hey, I'll just screw around with the cell phone. I downloaded a bunch of F-Droid apps, alternatives to Android, side-loaded them using an SD card because I couldn't download anything on the phone, no internet. And when I installed those apps, I got an IP list on a firewall that revealed some of the main terrorists involved in the attack. The IP addresses included Booz Allen Hamilton, that's the ultra controversial former employer of Edward Snowden, who he was working for at the time he went rogue and did his massive leak. Amazon Nova, controlling my malware. It's unfortunate. See here, my research is I now know am very aware it's tainted in that every internet connection I access is delivered through a content delivery service. In other words, the attacker's version of the internet, kind of like what China does. And so they can manipulate content any way they please, falsify it, basically anything. They have root control of every device I get my hands on. And disturbingly, well, what I was experiencing by any reasonable perspective appeared to have been a series of vicious criminal felonies, and by the definition of the FBI's website, a horrendous cyber terrorism attack. At the time, I hold to. I'm a very Socratic person. Occam's razor. Simplest answer is most logical. Look, they got some cheap rogue access point. I've since built them for fun. I have one I do as just kind of a little hat trick for people using a $1.25 board loaded with one on it that can hack any device, any wireless device, unless you have Enterprise. No one does. The Enterprise was at 802W or something like that. Yeah, horrible crime, but at the same time, mainly mid-level attacks doing the destruction, stereotypical independent Chinese hacker type attacks. That is, smash, bash, destroy, disrupt, just messy, and crude, but very destructive and effective. But I was also seeing the uses of such advanced technology that I didn't think it existed until after a year of research. And I cannot find it seems very unlikely that any small or private actors would be able to access many of these technologies. More disturbingly, at the same time I'm being attacked, it becomes clear that someone seems to be using some sort of warrant. That is, they're clearly under full control of all my connections. My Spectrum Time Warner cable connection, my Frontier modem connection, all my Sprint cell phone connections. I could elaborate on that quite a bit, but that's not the intent of this either. But it was very confusing as I was experiencing, my life was being destroyed, and I mean, it's been terror, and now, like I said, I sit here with the shadow of an imminent assassination hanging over me. But it was frying my circuits, because I saw what is typically associated with, like NSA surveillance and legal, what in themselves would be legal and orthodox methods for law enforcement, intercepting mail, bugging packages. That is, try to order unaffected Linux or Windows disk on eBay. My mail gets intercepted. I end up installing the same infected version that on a new hard drive. That my equipment that I recently have discovered, my cameras, I order on Amazon, get bugged. And apparently FBI and NSA are on record doing this, and in the course of a law enforcement investigation or surveillance operation, I mean, that's legitimate. But my confusion came in at, but the thing is, I'm being overtly attacked using cyber warfare weapons. And my thinking, as it would be to anyone not in the tight elite circle, is how that law enforcement can't be involved if it's a crime. If clearly it's a crime. I mean, if you're knocking me, you don't investigate someone by knocking out all of their technology, knocking them off the grid. Locking them out and being very blatant, like using Wi-Fi networks like you're being watched to mess with you. Making their presence known that you're totally dominated, which I am totally for here. You're into it now as more than ever. So, like I said, it fried my circuit boards, and it's embarrassing because I don't even know what to tell people because it's so crazy, it doesn't make sense. How am I seeing like this controversial, but under law or what's flying, Big Brother surveillance, clear cut, and then at the other hand, seeing cyber terrorism, destruction of my equipment, deletion of my personal data, encryption, and just sabotage and acts of endless cruelty, humiliation, most of my civil rights have been pulled. Got pulled at the time of the attack, and I do not expect to live to see them ever be restored. I have the freedom of speech in the sense that I can try to pick up the phone and call someone, but I don't have. I try to start just putting a little Google blog up to see how they would react when I posted the screenshots of the Microsoft Flame virus, which, according to Wikipedia, what I infer is I would be the screenshots of the Flame virus on my Windows PCs would make me the first legitimate or the first confirmed victim of that malware, designed by the CIA in cooperation with the Israeli intelligence program to derail Iran's nuclear program. I understand, though, it might be for sale on the black market, possibly. I think the NSA got hacked several years ago, and all of their malware is now on the black market for sale. So, yeah, very confusing. And I, as I'm being intensely surveilled and attacked, I'm trying to gather information for the FBI to compel them to come out and establish crime and give them something to go on to where they can't blow me off again. So now here's where it gets darker. I'm going to pause these two videos because they're at 45 minutes. And I think Google limits the upload length, and I don't want to have to edit, and I need a quick break.